I grow tired of asking. I want your name, the company and scale, and the character that you are portraying.
Oh yeah, hi. My name's Willow, and I'm representing the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Princess Leia Ewok Village outfit. Because it's all about the trees, isn't it? You know, got to save the trees, haven't we? Well,
Alright, my name's Dave, and I'm representing Princess Leia from the Star Wars Kenner Power of the Force 2 line.
Terminate them. Immediately.
Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here, and welcome to the channel. And welcome to Figure Focus, the series where I get to pick figures of characters from my own personal Star Wars collection within the 3 3/4 inch and 6-inch lines and give you my thoughts and opinions on those particular characters. First of all, we're going to be starting off with Princess Leia. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay then, so how I'm going to do this is overview the figures in order of film appearance, and to kick us off we have Princess Leia from Star Wars A New Hope. This is her original and for me most iconic look. I love the look of this figure and it has grown on me over the years. I've got to say, when I was younger I found it a fairly boring look, but looking at it now, it's yeah, loving this figure. So as you can see, I have two versions in the Black Series, the Power of the Force 2 version, the Star Wars Retro Collection version, and in the front there I have the original Kenner version. Now, never had her as a kid. It was hard to come by. By the time I started collecting Star Wars, it was coming to the end of The Empire Strikes Back, and then the cards were changing into Return of the Jedi and all their figures. So to get a original carded Princess Leia on a Star Wars card was fairly hard back in the day. Then after a few years of not having any Star Wars in the shops at all, Kenner decided to do Star Wars Power of the Force 2 line. And like most people, really excited by the fact that we're going to be getting more Star Wars figures in the shops and on the shelves. But then my kind of like excitement turned to meh, because of this, the state of the figures really, the bulkiness, and the card backs weren't Star Wars for me. This and this are Star Wars, iconic pictures like that on a card back. So I can understand why they did it. They had to change it up. They didn't want to go back to, how it was, I suppose, back in the when Star Wars figures were first released. But my God, that Princess Leia, have you ever seen an uglier figure in all of your days? That is atrocious. And I've said before, Carrie Fisher, bless her, must have been seething at that portrayal of Carrie Fisher. Yeah, what can I say? That horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Saying that, I'm glad I've got her in the collection now, because she was one of the original 12 in the original vintage line. So to have her in an updated version is, I'm happy with that. And yeah, I know people take the mick out of the figure. I certainly do. But joking aside, I'm glad to have her on the card back. So I've got the Tri-Logo card back there on the Power of the Force 2 card. At some point, I would like to pick up just a plain Star Wars card, and maybe one day. Anyhow, moving on. It was the 40th anniversary of Star Wars A New Hope in 2017. And then I first saw this figure in Toys R Us, saw the card back and thought, wow, what a throwback. I want to get this in my collection. So I ended up getting the 40th anniversary figures, and this was my first introduction to Black Series figures. So I was, didn't even realize that they were doing those figures until I saw these in the shop. So I've got the one here carded, 40th anniversary, and that is such a fantastic card back. I am loving that. What a throwback that is. This one here is from the standard series, the open one. That was a standard red and black boxed Black Series version. So the face sculpt wasn't brilliant, I have to say. So, but the card back, absolutely fantastic. Then they decided to do the archive collection, and here we have Princess Leia from the archive collection, and this was to mark the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm Limited. And again, the same figure, but with a photoreal face. And I've got to say, the packaging is bland. Don't like the packaging at all, but the photoreal look on this figure far exceeds the look of this figure. So if I could have this figure on that card back, that would be my perfect Princess Leia for the Black Series 40th anniversary line. Then moving on, we have Princess Leia from the retro collection. Again, really happy that they were going to be doing this retro collection line. But like a lot of people, wasn't happy with the fact that the cardstock was really flimsy. The retro sticker kind of ruins it. And the scuffing around the outside, not happy about that. They could have done a thicker cardstock for these figures. They could have had the Kenner figures on the back with the yellow background like the original card, and they could have done away with the retro sticker. They could have just put something on the card back or on the front of the card to say that it was a retro version and not an original vintage Kenner version. But anyhow, that's it for Star Wars Princess Leia A New Hope. Let's crack on to the next version of the figure. So before I move on to the next version of Princess Leia, I just want to say that we desperately need this card back and figure in the vintage collection. It is long overdue. Now, I do believe that we will get this figure at some point, but I have a gut feeling that it's not going to be until the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, which will be in 2027, and that is 4 years away. That is a long time to wait. But I don't know why I've got this feeling. I just think that's what they're going to be doing. And with that 50th anniversary collection of Star Wars, you'll be going to get a new sculpted Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Ben Kenobi, and Princess Leia. Hasbro, I'm hoping this isn't the case, because 4 years is a long time to wait for a figure that we should have had already. So, come on. A lot of people are wanting this figure, so please, let's get this figure ASAP and not leave it till the 50th anniversary. That's just my thought. That's my feeling that that's what's going to happen. We'll get this on the 50th anniversary of Star Wars in 2027. So I'm hoping that's not the case. So come on, Hasbro, let's get this figure ASAP. It is much needed in the vintage collection. You've done it for the Black Series. Let's get it out there for us TVC collectors. Anyhow, let's move on to the next version. Okay then, so Princess Leia's first costume change comes at the end of Star Wars A New Hope with the Yavin ceremony outfit. As you can see, she is represented by both Black Series and the Vintage Collection. The Vintage Collection, she is VC 150. And I've got to say, I am loving that image of Carrie Fisher on that card back. Absolutely stunning. What a great card back that is. And I'm absolutely loving that. Unfortunately, though, the figure isn't that great. Bit of a traffic cone there, really, as you can see just here. Can't really sort of like do too much with her. No, well, basic articulation in the arms and the head. But this one here, the open version, that is from the red and black boxed Black Series 3 3/4 inch line. So they did her again for the vintage collection, and I've got to say, card back wise, absolutely stunning. Then we move on to the Black Series version, and I've got to say, the figure and the facial sculpt and the photo reel, she looks absolutely amazing as a figure. Now, I've never been a great fan of the card backs to the Power of the Force, or to be fair, any of the other Star Wars card backs, apart from the Vintage Collection ones and the original Kenner version card backs. So, but yeah, I've got to say, the figure wise, absolutely stunning. I am loving that figure, and she looks absolutely great on display. So yeah, happy I've got these in the collection. This figure, they could have done it probably a little bit better, but the card back, absolutely stunning. This figure, Absolutely beautiful figure, but the card back, it isn't great. I appreciate it now for what it is, but this would look so cool on a vintage style card back like the one on the vintage collection. So that's just my thoughts and opinions on the Princess Leia Yavin ceremony outfit and card backs. Anyhow, let's move on to the next version. Okay then, so next up we have Princess Leia in her Hoth gear, and this is the first time you see her in Empire Strikes Back. She's represented by the 6-inch Black Series version, the retro carded version, and also the original Kenner version. And I've got to say, I'm loving the card backs and I'm loving this figure. It's a fantastic look. Definitely had this one as a kid, the original vintage Kenner version. So I don't know what it is about that costume. I like the Hoth scenes. Everything about the film was fantastic. I'm loving the 6-inch version. I think that is an absolutely tremendous looking figure. Again, this time, by the time the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back came out, you had the photo real faces, and also they did it again in the Star Wars retro line for Empire Strikes Back. Again, loving the card back, as in the image. Not happy with the flimsy cardstock or the scuffing around the sides or the retro collection sticker. And you're probably going to hear me say that a lot about these retro collection figures. I just wish they'd have done it how they did it back in the day in the 70s and the 80s. But never mind. This figure is also represented in the TVC. That is a figure I do not have, and that is one figure that I do wish to get at some point in the future, because what I would like to do is get my TVC collection looking exactly the same as my original Kenner version figures. I've got them set up pretty much like for like, but yeah, so that is one figure that is a must. Well, not a must. I would like to get that at some point, but like I said, overall really happy with the figure and the card backs. They look absolutely tremendous. Right, let's crack on and let's get the next version up. Okay then, so next up we have Princess Leia in her Bespin gown, and this is massively underrepresented in my collection, and the only two figures that I do have of her are the two that are in front of you now, which is the original Star Wars Kenner version. So we have the open neck here and the turtleneck there, and that is why I've put in the Princess Leia VC 187 Bespin Escape, just to fill this little bit out. Now for me, this look in all of the original trilogy was my favourite look in the Bespin gown. I thought she looked absolutely stunning. Bespin was probably one of my favourite scenes with the colours and stuff like that. And yeah, she just looked absolutely gorgeous in that outfit. And to be fair, I must say I do have the Hot Toys version of Princess Leia in her Bespin gown, and it is absolutely stunning. The facial sculpt, the look, the outfit, wow. Really, really happy to have that in my collection. But my focus at the moment is 3 3/4 inch and 6-inch versions of the Princess Leia figure. Now, the Bespin Escape figure, yeah, not the greatest figure. I do have two of this version, one on the card and one that I will open up at some point to display. But the card back isn't great. I know a lot of people have said that it's dark. I mean, I'm looking at it now and I can see it okay from my point of view, from sitting in the room looking at it live, but seeing it through the camera, it does look really dark. And the figure isn't that great either, if I'm honest. This is really disappointing. Yeah, it just looks really bland. The articulation isn't great, and yeah, I'm not too keen with what they've done with this figure, which is a shame. But you can't win them all, can you? I guess. So yeah, so a bit disappointing that I don't have many of the figures of Princess Leia in this version, whether it be TVC or Black Series. Hoping at some point in the future I can amend that and get this figure in this outfit in my collection. Anyhow, let's crack on and let's have a look at the next version. Okay then, so next up we have Princess Leia in either Bouche, Bausch or Bosch disguise, depending on which way you want to pronounce it. and she is represented in the Black Series 6-inch line, the original Kenner Vintage line, and the TVC line. And the TVC line is where we start off. This figure here came with a bundle that I got off of eBay, so this wasn't on the card. So I really cannot remember what the card back looks like. So that is one figure that I do need to get on card back, and probably get another one as well, because this one's missing the her staff. To be fair, I'm not a great lover of this figure from the TVC. I wish they hadn't had her with the thermal detonator firmly in her hand. I wish there was an option where you could either put it in her hand or take it out. I think that would have been a far better way of doing it. But yeah, I like the overall look, but I'm just not happy with that, and I'm very picky. So yeah, so not too keen on this version at this moment in time. The original vintage Kenner version, however, I do like that. Always like the figure. Again, really cannot remember the card back. So yeah, but had her as a kid, and I think it's a fantastic look for her. Now moving on to the 6-inch version. This version here has just blown me away. The face sculpt, the detailing, the likeness to Carrie Fisher, absolutely tremendous. I do have two of these. One I need to open at some point and get on display. What a fantastic looking figure. The colours, everything about this figure just looks absolutely fantastic. Again, not happy with the card back for the archive collection. It does look rather bland, but if you turn it around, it will show you that this figure was first released in 2014 on the old Black Series card there, and it was the one with the blue stripe. And by all accounts, I think there was issues with the legs or something like that. They wouldn't like too far apart or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, out of these three, I've got to say my favourite has got to be the Black Series version, without any shadow of a doubt, the 6-inch version. Then the original Kenner version. I did have another one of these on card back, so I did have a card back. What a donut. I've just remembered. And I took it off the card back, and what did I do with it? I sent it off for grading, and I did keep the card, but I don't know what I've done with the card, so I don't have that offhand to show you at this moment in time. So I do have the card back. Oh, what have I done with it? 2 seconds, and I'll try and find the card back. Okay then, so I managed to find the card back, and here we have the original Star Wars Return of the Jedi Princess Leia in Bouche, Bausch or Bosch disguise. And yeah, quite a decent card. If I'm honest, the state of the card is absolutely shocking, but the picture and the image, really, really like that. So yeah, I do need to get that figure on the Vintage Collection card back at some point in the future. So anyhow, that is Bouche, Bausch or Bosch disguise. So let's crack on and move on with the next figure. Okay then, so the next time we see Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi, she is dressed like this. And this is a somewhat controversial figure because of what people seem to think it represents. So if you're easily offended and you don't like what this figure represents, then please just fast forward this section. So anyhow, Princess Leia is represented in the 6-inch Black Series version. And here we have VC88. This was kindly gifted to me by Gary Moore. Although it's not directly the same figure, underneath this poncho, Princess Leia is in a skimpy bikini like this. And this is the Princess Leia Sandstorm outfit. So this is from the deleted scenes of Return of the Jedi. Now, this figure will never be updated or released again, which is a shame. The figure was also represented in the TVC, which I don't have, and it's going to probably cost an absolute fortune now because that figure will never be released again. Why? Because either Hasbro, Disney or Lucasfilm do not like what that figure represents, and people are easily offended these days. Right? Don't look at it as if it's like represents slavery, because it doesn't. I don't look at this figure and think, oh God, she's a slave. Okay? What I think about this figure when I see it is a strong, powerful woman who was unfortunately captured, but then she managed to get herself out of it and kill off Jabba the Hutt. She didn't need Luke, and she didn't need Han to do it. She did it all on her Todd. Yeah? So, for the love of God, just knock it on the head with this woke bullshit that people are coming out with these days, yeah, doesn't represent slavery. That's all I've got to say on the matter. Let's move on to the next figure. I tell a lie. The only way that you will ever see this figure again in either 6-inch version or 3 3/4 inch version is if someone does it third party. And Stan Solo has done a Princess Leia slave outfit in the style of the original Kenner vintage figures. So yeah, third party is the way you're going to go with this 6-inch and modern updated TVC, because Disney, Hasbro and Lucasfilm will not re-release this figure. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so next up we have Princess Leia in an Endor poncho, and she's represented by the Black Series, the Vintage Collection, the original Kenner version, and this 5 POA version here that I'm not too sure what it's from. This was, again, something that come in the bottom of a bag when I ordered it off of eBay. That was chucked in as an extra. So if you do know what this figure's from, if you could leave a comment in the comment section below, I'll be most grateful. So yeah, anyhow, Vintage Collection Kenner figure. Never had this as a kid, but I've got to say I'm glad I've got it now. The soft goods looks fantastic. Really happy with that. So the Vintage Kenner Collection here. This came out as part of the 50th Lucasfilm anniversary. I've got to say, I'm loving the card back. I think the card back is fantastic. Not overly keen on the figure. Articulation's not great. She hasn't got the ball jointed hips, so you're not going to be able to sit on a speeder bike. Standing wise, I guess she looks okay. I'm liking the cape. Trying to find some positives here. But if you want her on a speeder bike, no good. Not brilliant. But other than that, she's fairly decent. So here we have her in the outfits for the standard Black Series line. This is a new boxing that they do with the picture down the side. And I'm so glad that they've got the windows. And I'm so glad that they've come to their senses and going back to the windows on the boxes. Well done, Hasbro. So you make a decision. It's a bad decision. But then you rectify it and make a right decision by going back on that decision that you made in the first place, which was a wrong decision, if you get what I mean. And then here we have Princess Leia as part of the 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi. Again, fantastic card back. The figure looks okay. Again, I've not got this out. I do need to get this open at some point because I want to have one of these on display on the card back and then the figure loose, which I have got with my Empire and Star Wars 40th anniversary figures because I like the way that looks. So yeah, I've got to say, I do like the colours on this figure. I mean, yeah, not happy with the way this is designed with the no ball joint hips, but I'm loving the colours. Yeah, a good looking figure, and the facial sculpt on this one also looks really good as well. So happy with that. Anyhow, let's move on to the final version of Princess Leia in my own personal Star Wars collection. Okay then, so last but not least, we have Princess Leia in an Ewok Village outfit, and this is represented by the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch line. This, to my knowledge, is the only figure that they've done of her in this outfit. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me in the comments below. But yeah, you've got your standard Black Series box there with the awesome image of Princess Leia in the outfit there. So liking that. You've got the window at the front so you can see the figure. Out the box, the facial sculpt looks absolutely amazing. The photo real. I'm liking what they've done with the hair. And the overall costume and look of this figure looks absolutely amazing. And it would be great if at some point in the future we get this figure in TVC, because it'd be great to see her on a TVC card back in this outfit. Not really got too much to say now about this figure, so I'm going to wrap the video up. Just before I do, just want to say these are my own thoughts, opinions on things. So you may agree with me, you may not. I'm okay with that, right? If you don't agree with me, then fine. On certain subject matters, then that's absolutely fine. I you know, it's about opinions, and opinions. Everybody's got an opinion, and these are my thoughts and opinions on these figures and on circumstances surrounding certain figures. Anyhow, enough of that malarkey. If you are new to the channel, feel free to comment, like and subscribe. hit that notification bell to let you know of more content. And as always, there will be more content. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you for your support. Take care, stay safe, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.